Kevin Hart has been booed off a stage with a piece of fried chicken thrown at his head. He's been publicly humiliated out of hosting the Oscars. He's been in a car crash so violent it fractured his spine in 3 places and forced him to learn how to walk again. And somewhere in the middle of all that, he quietly built a media empire worth around $650 million. But here's the part that should stop you cold. He did it by turning down the kind of paychecks most actors in Hollywood would sign without reading. He walked away from money on purpose, because he was chasing something the industry had trained almost every star to ignore. And by the end of these 4 minutes, you're going to look at money and yourself completely differently. So let me take you back. His name in those early Philly clubs wasn't even Kevin Hart. It was Lil Kev the Bastard. He was imitating Chris Tucker, trying to sound like Eddie Murphy, trying to be everybody except himself, and audiences could feel it. They didn't reject his jokes. They rejected the fake. Then a veteran comic named Keith Robinson pulled him aside and said something that quietly rewrote his entire future. Stop performing. Start telling the truth. So Hart did something terrifying. He got on stage and talked about his father, a drug addict who was constantly in and out of jail. His mother, raising him in a cramped Philly house where he slept in a bunk bed in a hallway, about being short, about being scared, about bombing. And suddenly, the laughs were real. But the pivot wasn't just emotional. It was financial. In entertainment, authenticity is the only thing that scales. A character can be copied. A voice cannot. The moment Hart became unmistakably Kevin Hart, he became a brand no other human on earth could counterfeit. By 2011, his Laugh at My Pain tour grossed over $15 million. By 2016, Forbes had him earning roughly $87 million in a single year, more than any comedian alive. Now here's the part nobody in Hollywood wants you to think about. The entire entertainment system is built to do one thing: pay the talent a big upfront check, and then keep every dollar that comes after forever. The streamers own the specials, the studios own the films, the platforms own the catalog, the star owns a memory. Hart looked at that system and quietly said no. In 2009, while he was still climbing, he founded Heartbeat Productions, not to act, to own. He started producing his own specials, his own films, his own digital network. Every time he stepped on screen, he wasn't just collecting a check. He was building an asset. Then came the masterstroke. In April of 2022, the private equity firm Abry Partners poured $100 million into Heartbeat for roughly a 15% minority stake. That deal valued his company at around $650 million, which means Hart kept roughly 85%, around $550 million in one company, from one deal. A guy who once got booed off a Philadelphia stage now sat on more equity than most A-list actors will see in a lifetime of starring roles. Not because he told better jokes, because he understood a rule Hollywood almost never teaches its stars. A salary makes you rich. Equity makes you wealthy. But every empire casts a shadow. In September of 2019, Hart climbed into the passenger seat of a vintage 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. The driver lost control. The car flipped down an embankment. The roof crushed inward. Hart suffered 3 spinal fractures, and the man who built his life on motion suddenly couldn't move at all. He had to relearn how to walk. And later he said something the people closest to him didn't expect. The crash made him realize how much of his life had been spent in motion and how little of it in presence. Success had built the empire. Stillness gave him back his soul. That's the part the highlight reels never show. So here's what Kevin Hart's life quietly teaches anyone paying attention. Authenticity is leverage. Ownership compounds. Discipline beats talent over a long enough timeline. The people who win aren't the ones working the loudest. They're the ones building the asset that keeps paying them while they sleep. The The world saw a comedian. Hart saw a business. So I'll leave you with the question that should make you uncomfortable. Look at everything you did this week. How much of it built something you actually own? And how much of it just rented you another day?